Hello there. My name is Valerie White Williams and I'm a voice teacher and a vocal coach for Vocal Splendor Studios. Today I'm doing another reaction, and this is another reaction to one of my earlier videos made in 2011 called Do Some Singers Really Have an 8-Octave Range? Vocal Myths Exposed. Yeah, I was trying to be all so edgy then. So before I get into it, make sure you subscribe so you can get all of my uploads. So let's get into it.
Hello, beautiful singers. It's Valerie Williams with Vocal Splendor Studios and vocalsplendor.com, and I'm today going to talk to you about vocal myths. And I'm going to talk about one of my favorite, or I guess one of my most annoying myths that I like to talk about is, do singers really have 8-octave ranges?
Yeah, I'm still talking really fast. I think I've learned to calm down since then. But yes, this is still an issue because this video, I've gotten so much flack about it because people don't really understand what an octave is. It doesn't mean like high octane gas. And also this was before there was someone whose name is Dimash. But let's keep listening.
Sometimes when you hear about these awesome, singers, see Christina Aguilera, or I've heard Whitney Houston, the claims are that and phenomenal. They have these huge ranges, 8 octaves, 6 octaves, 5 octaves. I've even seen this in the press where people who are actually music writers will repeat these things. I think what happens is there's very few people who really know what an octave is, which is why many musicians find this incredibly annoying with these really outrageous claims. An octave...
Yeah, this is a real true thing because unfortunately, at least in America, we don't have a solid musical education unless you actually are in band or in choir. And it used to be that musicality was taught more, just in general, about what musical theory is, the intervals, the scales, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So basically, an octave is do to do, but it doesn't start with the first do. But let's keep going. I'll be talking a bit more about that later.
Is a full scale. That's an octave. It's like the song on The Sound of Music. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, do, do. That's an octave. Okay, so when you look at a piano has just over 7 octaves. To be honest, in my 20 plus years of singing, I have never heard anyone sing the whole piano, ever.
And that is still true today. Because Dimash has an amazing lower range and he can go off the edge of the piano on the high notes, but he doesn't go down to the bottom. So as far as I'm concerned, there's nobody who can sing all the things on the piano. There are some basses that can actually go down lower than the piano, but they can't go over the top of the piano. And I've never seen that, and you let me know because, again, a lot of people do not really understand what an octave is and they get it confused. And I'm going to talk about that later.
Most professional singers have a 3-octave range, and that's taking a lot. Very few people have that right off the bat. Many beginners start off with an octave and a half, perhaps a 2-octave range. 3 octaves is a lot. For people, guys that have an extended falsetto, some people have an extended lower range. Some singers like Mariah Carey or some opera singers might even have some whistle. So let's be generous and give them a little more on either side. We're looking at maybe 4-octave ranges, maybe 5 in an extreme case. But if you hear someone...
Okay, so that's one thing I agree. Personally, most singers have 3-octave range, professional. And really, that's really all you need. It's not about how much of a big range you have, it's how you use the voice that counts. And also having that control throughout the range. That's the other thing. Now, this is before Dimash. Now, Dimash is, an aberration. He does have that low D. He has this. I heard him sing this. Okay, so that's a bass. That's like a low bass has that one. But I've also heard him sing off that piano. So that will give him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5, 6. Okay? And we're going to talk about how to count an octave because that's where people still don't get it.
Talking about an 8-octave range, you actually have permission to roll your eyes. Take it with a grain of salt. Unfortunately, that is being tossed around by people who don't know what an octave is. Be a smart musician. Know your musical terms. Know what an octave really is. An octave is do.
Okay, and like I said, because people don't know what an octave is, they don't. They hear it being tossed around. You know, octave is based on the oct, which is 8. So when you have an octave, that means you have to travel from do. Okay, that's 1 octave. From do to do is 1 octave. And what people do who aren't musically educated or they don't really know, they count the first octave as, you know, their scale. But it's like mile. You can run a mile, but you don't say, okay, I ran a mile just from my doorstep. You have to run a mile, and then you can say you ran a mile, not my doorstep is a mile. See, that's what people don't understand.
Do to do, or any note that is the whole other octave above music. Remember, music moves like a spiral around a circle. And so as we go higher, we're a higher octave. And the higher octave is in exactly the same place as it started. That's what makes it higher. Again, let me give you an example. I'm going to start in my lower range. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, 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 re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, so that is an octave from do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's 1 octave. It's not 2 octaves, it's 1 octave. Do. Now I'm going to go up another octave. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, 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 do. Now I'm going to go another octave. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. Kind of, just barely. But I think you get the idea. I sang 4 octaves today, on the very edge. Really 3 when I start at the beginning. So please, don't toss around inflated octaves. It doesn't mean you're a better singer. And that said, just because you have a bigger range doesn't mean you use it well. What makes you a great singer is how you use your voice, not your range, although having more range means you have more to work with. All right, that's it. Valerie Williams signing out. I will talk to you next time. Take care. Bye. All right, that was really fun. And I wasn't by the piano, so I really couldn't do it. I think I was just still learning how to make videos, obviously. But again, people want to argue with me because this, so me, do, my low notes are better. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's an octave. Now I sing, this is, no, you know, this is F, let's see, 1, 2, 3. This is F3 and this is F4. But that doesn't mean I sang 2 octaves. Because an octave, you have to pass through the octave before you can claim an octave. You don't say, wow, I'm going to run a mile and I'm just on my doorstep. That's my first mile. It's not how it works. That's not how it works. So it's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's 1 octave. Or this one. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's another octave. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Like that. Okay, so basically, I sang 3 octaves. So when you say this is 1, 2, 3, this is F3, 2, F3, F4, A5, A6. So from F, I gotta count, 1, 2, 3. From F3 to F6 there's 4 octaves in it, but you're only singing 3 octaves because that's how it works. And that's the confusion. That's the confusion. Because this is an octave. That's an octave. Not 2 octaves. It's 1 octave. But because these terminology has been tossed around in pop culture, people still kind of think that. And again, nobody I've ever seen can sing the entire piano. Now, Dimash is that person, but even he doesn't sing below this. Now, he has this, which is still really, really impressive because he is kind of more of a tenor, but he can sing to bass line.
So yeah, so now if I would redo this video, I would say, well, yeah, Dimash has a 5.5 to 6 octave range, but I don't think anyone else has more. Now people just toss that around like it's like candy or like it's octane, like you have superpower. But you only have from one octave to another octave, that's one octave. It's not two. It's not two. And I know people want to feel impressive, but the thing is that there are many amazing singers that don't have huge, big ranges, but they still are amazing because how they express themselves, their tone, how their creativity, their phrasing. That's really what's more important than range. I mean, it's great to have a good range and it's fun. It can be like kind of like a circus act sometimes, but to be honest, it's not really about the range. It's about the feeling that you put into your songs, the phrasing that you're using, the integrity, the musical integrity about, the lyrics and delivering that lyrics and creating an expression that people can relate to. That's what's really important, not range. I mean, it's great to grow your range. I always work range with my students because I always want them to get more notes. And because when you grow your notes, and to be honest here, I'll be honest with you guys, it's much easier to grow your high notes than the low notes because it's all really about the vocal cords. People have thick vocal cords, they have thin vocal cords, and the people that have really low notes tend to have a bit thicker cords and they can go down there. Where with the high notes, we can learn to stretch the vocal cords out because what happens when you sing low notes, the vocal cords are thick and fat, and when we sing high notes, they stretch out. And so what happens is that they can only compress so low, depending on what you have in your vocal cords. But when you sing high notes, we're just basically like stretching this rubber band. And so you can train that if you go consistently, because there's a muscle called the cricothyroid muscle that actually stretches those vocal cords. But to do that, you also have to have really strong breath energy, is what I like to call it, because it takes a lot of resistance in the breathing, and you have to also feel that narrowing. And that's really tricky for a lot of singers because they put in too much weight or they don't know how to use their breath, and it takes them a long time. So I have a lot of singers that they get to what they call the break, which I don't like to use that word. I like to passaggio, and then they think, oh, I don't have any more notes. But that's when we're going to make that transition into those upper notes. And then a lot of people can get those whistle notes because I sing the Queen of the Night. I don't know if I can do it on here. Kind of rusty, but yeah. So, and it really is about voice type as well. Some people I've always had the high notes, even when I was in high school. And so some people are just never going to get them as well because every voice is unique, and that's okay. When you're a singer, you need to build your voice, but then use it. It's really about how you use your voice to make an impact on the song you're singing. So this was really fun to revisit. It was a long time ago, 2011. Gosh, that was a long time ago. But here I am, still making videos. So thank you so much for all the likes and subscribes. And I'm so happy that you are here on this journey for me to revisit my older videos. It's been fun, and I'd love to hear if you guys want to go back and tell me which ones I should do again. But this one I knew I had to do because now there's someone called Dimash, and he actually has been breaking lots of barriers as far as that goes. All right. So yeah, thank you for watching and subscribing and sharing. And I just want to let you know, if you haven't known, I have 2 passion projects on Facebook. The first one is called YouTube Success Strategies, and that's where I'm coaching people on how to be successful on YouTube. And then the second one is Creative Soul Alignment, and that's for people that are interested in creativity and spirituality, because we are all here to be creative, and you create with every decision you make. And also, we are on this planet to create a world that works for everybody. And the way we're going to do that is visualize it first. Once that vision is in place, we're going to make it happen. All right, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.